So, today I am super, super excited. One, because I love you a lot and you know this. So, welcome to Full Circle.
Oh, thank you.
It's going to be strange, right? One, because this conversation is a conversation that we can have a million ways, a million times, and we may have had a million ways.
We have had that conversation, so I don't know how it's going to turn out if it's being filmed, because
and it actually doesn't even matter because
I know.
I know you're fabulous. Yeah, don't shake your head. Of course you're fabulous. But the world doesn't know you're fabulous. So that's why I just thought, okay, I actually want the world to know that I have fabulous friends. So, hello, Makgati.
Thank you, my fabulous friend.
My fabulous friend. If I were to ask you to complete the sentence for people who don't know, Makgati is, run with it.
Compassionate.
Makgati is compassionate.
Completely.
Why does compassion matter to you?
It's because I always, I don't know, I have this thing of putting other people first. And I think I'm very empathetic. And sometimes it comes across as nice. And nice is this word that people don't think that it should be something that people appreciate. Yes. It's like, oh, nice, skaba nice, don't be nice. And I always say, I'm not nice. I'm empathetic and I'm compassionate and I'm considerate.
Okay, so I am compassionate and considerate, but
yes.
It's not nice.
It's not nice.
Why? Because nice sounds like what?
I don't know. I've realized that people kind of like take nice as a negative. Take nice as something that people can take advantage of you because you're nice. Okay. You know, and I'm like, yes, there are times that where you shouldn't come across as nice. You know, you should just put your foot down on certain things. And then people think, oh my God, we thought she was nice.
Oh, I understand.
Yeah, it's like, no, but no, it's because I am considerate and I'm empathetic.
But don't confuse me with nice.
Yes. Well, at the end of the day, you can say I'm nice, but that's not the words that I want to be described as, what we know as is empathetic and considerate.
You see, now that helps because then what are the three words that are important to you?
Yeah.
So one is compassion.
Compassionate, empathetic, and considerate.
I would put creative in that. I'm surprised that you haven't. I would put creative in that.
Yeah, I suppose it's because, creative is there, but I suppose maybe it's because creative is what I live with. I mean, it's the way I live my life. I live my life that way on a daily basis. And compassionate comes in waves, you know.
Yes.
Yeah. But creative is an everyday thing. I wake up in the morning, throughout the day, it's being creative.
Okay. So are you suggesting therefore that compassion is how you behave whilst you are living out your creative life?
Exactly.
Okay, well then, which gets me to this point, because I know what you do. So how does, firstly, let's talk about what you do.
Yeah.
And then we can talk about how what you do lights your fire. Okay. So walk me through this, because I think we now live in a culture where words are used with such carelessness. Right? Everybody's an expert, everyone is a guru, everyone has influence. So if you have influence, you're an influencer, and I go, no, you're an influencer, then we can have another conversation about that. So tell me what you do.
What do I do? Yes. Sometimes people say, okay, what do you do? And they talk about their I am A, you know, I'm not A. What I do is I help people navigate the creative visual arts.
Okay.
Yes. I guide people in navigating the art world. That's what makes me wake up in the morning and I say, wow, what's happening out there? Artists, individuals, corporates, and ordinary people, that come to me and they say, we're not certain about this art world. And then I have a conversation. I have different conversations with different people about the art world.
But why is that important? I mean, somebody could say, Makgati, people are starving and you just want to talk about art. Why is that important? Why is art important?
Because it is part of a cultural being. On an everyday basis, art influences what people perceive the world to be. You understand? So, I know that most of the time people think that they need to acquire art because they need to bring it into the homes.
Yes.
And it needs to be seen to be displayed on the walls around the house. But that's not all what art is.
Yeah.
There can be art that you don't have to bring into the house. It can be art that makes you aware of certain things in the world, or highlights or emphasizes certain issues in society. Mm-hmm. So that is why museums and art spaces are important to us, because for instance, let's say what is happening today, this year, 2020, COVID year. And also, I was doing a lecture, a workshop with emerging artists. Yes. And I was saying to them, this is a very significant year. And artists need to reflect this year. They need to find ways of interpreting this year to ordinary people, so that in 20 years' time, when we look back, we may remember this year. And artists are the only people, or the topmost people, that will look at this and say, how do we interpret this? What do people feel about this year? Because for some of us, visually in fact, for some of us in 20 years' time, we'll have forgotten about this. We'll have moved on.
What do you mean 20 years' time? Next week we'll have forgotten about it. We get to New Year, we're drunk, we forgot about it. So, what?
Exactly. So that is the subject matter that I said to them. It's there, you have this year to look at and say, not really painting people with masks.
Yes.
No, take it beyond that.
Okay.
Put some depth into it.
Okay.
And see, this is why when you look back, it's for posterity. And those artworks that will be created this year by those people may end up in museums. And I said, think about it. Think about what is it that will make you be remembered as you grow in your career. So that's what art is about.
But so let's talk about this for 2 seconds. So you've said that you help people navigate the world of the arts. Would you object to being called a curator? Because I know we've had a conversation about what is a curator, what is an agitator.
Yes.
What is your sense about the term curator, and why do you find it bothersome?
I feel that I'm not a curator as in how the word curator originated.
Yes.
As somebody that's sitting in a museum and taking care of or being responsible for artifacts and art objects in a museum and taking them out to display them, for people to see and writing. Well, I really maybe don't do that per se. I sit with people and I get people to understand what appeals to them. Especially, let's just say I'm talking to a collector, somebody who wants to acquire art, and they don't even know where to start. Yes. I would say to them, I don't carry artworks to them and say, oh yeah, I've got this and this and this and this and this, so which one do you like? I'm here to sell you. No, I don't do that. What I do is I will sit down with the person and say, let's have a conversation. So, what appeals to you? Who are you?
Yes.
What do you like?
Okay.
You know, what appeals to you? What do you find beautiful? What color? So in that way, I will be able to take them through the different mediums and materials and everything about art. Whether they love color, whether they love landscape, whether they love representational figuration. You understand? And you know, I've had a collector who has said, I'm a farmer. I'm like, okay. A farmer, yes, I love farming. Every weekend I go to my farm and I love cows.
Yes.
I said, oh, you say you love cows. So we had a conversation around that. And that led me to select landscapes, farmscapes for him. Rolled hay, you understand? Cows grazing, you know. So that's what I filled his home with, okay. You know. And then what I did as well, because I really like to push my clients to get them also out of their comfort zone. Mm-hmm. So I thought to myself, okay, maybe what you can look at is something which is scorched ground, you know. And he's like, I'm like, yeah, it still relates to a farm. When you burn the fields, yes. And he saw it that way. Yes. So all we wanted were like cows grazing, but I took him away from the cows grazing, yes. And I put him there. And he looked at it and said, no, I understand. You know, but if he had just seen it somewhere, he wouldn't have connected it to his farming experience or his. So that's what I do. And it takes a long time. I mean, for me to get to, I mean, sometimes it takes maybe a while before I can really find something that appeals to that person.
Understood.
So it's not about going in and finding artworks and filling a house with artworks, no.
But then what do you do with the person who says, here's my shopping list. Here are the top 10 pieces of art that I must hang above my couch.
Yeah, that happens. I mean, for instance, whenever I go to a client, sometimes I find different clients, of course. So I establish that first. And I establish, oh, this person is an essential value person. What motivates this person? I find the motivations as well. What motivates this person? An essential value. An essential value is the person that will say, I want something that resonates with me. I want something that will make me feel that I have arrived at home at the end of the day when I look at an art piece. Okay. You know, it will be, something that my frame of reference, within my frame of reference, reminds me of something or my experiences or something like that. Those are essential people. And I know when I get to those people, it's very exciting because I'll sit down with them and then I'll find out whether he's an expressionist kind of person or he's an impressionist kind of person or figuration, representational or abstract or anything. And in that process, I get to educate them as well about the different, phases of art. And it's a very good conversation. I love that. Or I will establish whether this person is a social value person. The social value person, as I walk in, they say, I want a cartridge, and I want this, and I want that, and I want that. And I realize that this person honestly wants art that can be recognized by the people that walk into their home.
Okay, so this is like the brag factor.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, it's like, does it match the house in my garage? It's like, this gives me status. Okay. They actually acquire art to gain entree into a certain strata of society. Those are the people. I don't have a problem. Like, okay, let's work for me. Okay, I'll go and find you this person and that person and that person. Sometimes investment, and I've had people like that. Well, will it have appreciated in value? I'm like, well, if you're buying an emerging artist, I don't have a crystal ball to know that whether this artist in another 10 years will have appreciated in value. Okay. So don't, I would advise them, I will always say to them, well, I will not actually guide you towards an artist who is early in their careers.
Got it.
So we go mid-career or established. And there are certain elements that I look at to determine where this artist is.
Okay.
Because then that artist would have already entered the secondary market, the resale value market.
Okay.
So we look at that, and I would come back and say, okay, fine, this person you need to acquire. And investment people are investment people. They will buy art in another 3 years or 4 years, they flip it. You know, I was doing a valuation on an artist, and I'd seen this artist work over and over and over again. You know, she said, this exhibition over the past 25 years, but I'd never actually went into a auction database to see how his work has performed. And I realized that he has been flipped. Some of his work has been flipped so many times.
Is that a good or bad thing?
You know, when you enter the secondary market, there's very little that you can do, you know, because people are going to flip you.
Okay.
You know, they're going to, and after 2 years, they're going to resell you. Good or bad, it just depends on where the artist is and who the artist is.
Okay.
You know, and because, I mean, the value is determined by the people who want to acquire your art. So if more people want to acquire that, then only 2 people will remain right at the end, at the top of that acquisition level.
Yes.
And then one of them wins.
Okay.
So that's where value is determined.
Okay.
So bad or no good, it just depends on it.
But it makes it, do you know what, like, Mac, you know this because I've always said to you that everything I know, maybe 90% of the stuff I know about art, it's because I love you and you're a sharer, and you've been able to just guide, support, and educate me. For people who are starting out, right, either they can do what I did, which is I'm junior, I get promoted to a management role, my salary gets bumped up, and I buy an expensive bag. Right? Or my salary gets bumped up and I actually can buy art, right? Mm-hmm. So what I know when I'm reflecting on my own life is I so wish I had started earlier in appreciating art or just collecting art. So let's imagine that we have someone who is a mid-level career, and they want to acquire pieces, but they don't know where to start. And they think everything is expensive. What would be your counsel?
We're talking about somebody who's actually mid-career in their career, and they want to acquire art.
Yes, and they think it's expensive.
It's expensive. Well, you know what? It's very relative. I must be honest. I mean, what would be expensive to them? You know, what would be expensive to you? Because sometimes people they think that they don't understand the value of art, because in the first place, art is not value. It's what I was saying the other day, it's not utilitarian. You understand? People can buy, they can live in it, they can wear it, they can eat it, they can drive it. So it's a very, very, very grudge buy. So people have to actually want to acquire art. So at that stage, some people think that an artwork which is about maybe in the 10 grand is expensive.
Yes.
Then one would say, why don't you start with multiples? You know, because you are at the level of acquiring that.
Yes.
Then buy, which is like editions. It's not unique, it's an edition.
Okay.
Let's start there.
Okay.
And let's look at what is available out there within your affordability and price range.
Okay.
You know, that's where I start. Okay. You know, but then if we want to go to a painting, you would really have to be prepared. And you know, I always say that You can negotiate. Artists are negotiable.
Really?
Yes.
But can I go to the artist directly, or I
Yes.
always have to go to the
Well,
the
it
gallery?
depends. If you go to a gallery, galleries also are negotiable. People actually think that you can walk into a gallery and the gallery will want you to pay that whole amount at that time.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Talk to the gallery. Tell them. I mean, galleries want people to acquire art.
Okay.
And we don't understand that. We always think that I've acquired art and I've paid it off.
Oh, so you can have lay-by.
Oh, yes. You can have lay-by.
Oh, you got lay-by ones at
No,
Spitz, and I don't know if Spitz
I have
even
had
exists.
some of my artworks. I have lay-by.
You see, I
I've
like
come
this.
back and I said, listen, in fact, I was reading about a gallery that had to find a way during this year of COVID. They've had to find a way of generating revenue,
Yes.
income on a monthly basis.
Yes.
So they actually created what is called a subscription arrangement.
Okay.
Yes. And then they selected certain artists and they said, okay, about 45 artists, whatever, 45 artworks
Yes.
are going to be on that subscription. And they went to collectors and they said, listen, because they realized that if we go and expect people at this stage
Yes.
or this year
Yes.
to pay the entire amount for an art piece, it's going to be very difficult.
Understood.
So what they did is they created subscription lay-by.
like
It's
an
just kind of
account.
like, it's an account. Subscription, they kind of like framed in such a way that it's palatable,
Yes.
So they went and they did that.
I like
And then they said, okay, how long is it going to take? It's a 1-year subscription
Oh, fantastic.
of so much. And then the
So I
artwork will
get the
come to you.
artwork and then I pay it off every month.
Yes.
I love the sound of this. I really love the sound
So
of this.
when I read it, I thought to myself, wow, this is great. But that has been happening.
Okay.
Certain clients are given that.
Yes.
Because as I said earlier, galleries want you to acquire their art.
Okay.
So they will sit down with you, have a discussion with you, and you'll enter that arrangement.
Yeah. And I know that you and I can have a wonderful conversation about art all day. So here's a trick question for you. If I have 20,000 and I wanted to buy one piece, who do you think I should be buying today? Just based on what you've looked around, you're like, this person is a nice person, maybe you could.
know that I always shy away from actually saying, go and buy that purse.
Yeah.
I would never say to a person, go and buy so-and-so.
Yeah.
I would say to you, you have 20,000. What is it that you like? Because honestly, I have a vast selection of artists. Having been at the Back Factory,
Yes.
I have worked with so many artists, and I've kind of like nurtured so many artists, and I love them all. I really
So you
do.
don't have a favorite child?
I don't.
You don't
I
have a
don't have a favorite. I don't have a. I probably will have something that appeals to me at that time. I'll go and look around and I'm like, oh, that is something different.
Okay.
Because sometimes you find that artists tend to produce the same thing.
Yes.
And
But isn't that what gives them a language and therefore helps those of us who visit galleries to find their work recognizable?
Yeah, there will be, there is an identifying, like a
Like a
or something.
signature
A
for
signature.
this guy, yes,
That's the
or
word.
this woman.
A signature
Yes.
for every artist.
Yes.
But sometimes you look at, and then you find that they're all doing portraits of
Women running away.
or children or
Yes,
something
yeah.
like that. But there's a signature. But then you get a little bit confused. This is why I was during the Sasol New Signature Award prize, and I walked in and I thought to myself, oh my gosh, I've never seen so many artworks in whatever. So we walked around, but the whole thing was like, what catches your eye? What's different? What's new? Who's pushing the envelope?
Okay.
So that's what artists need to do, push the envelope, take risks. Sometimes it doesn't work, take that artwork, put it away.
Okay.
You know, put it away. In another 5 years, you may have a look at it, or it may just be, so what would be appealing at that time?
Okay. Okay.
You know, because sometimes you find that popularity and taste at that time is what appeals to a lot of people. And then it moves on to something different, and it moves on to something different. Because art is always, what gets art to the next level is what one person takes the risk and does differently.
Awesome.
It's not accepted at that time. Maybe a few people find it appealing,
Yes.
and then the rest follow. You know the whole thing, the pioneers,
Yes.
and then the rest of
Then
the
the
people.
followers.
And the followers, the pioneers,
Yes.
the conformists,
Yes.
and the followers.
Okay.
Same way with art.
Yeah. I could keep you here all day, but I won't. I'm tempted, but I won't, because I know you have a life outside of me, trying to just get and learn more.
Yeah.
So here's a fun question. Because eventually I was going to talk about brands, right? Because
Okay.
brands are the things that I like, and they drive my life, and they feed me every day. They are the anchor for my creativity.
Yes.
So you are on a desert island, and you're allowed to bring only 3 brands. What are those 3 brands?
Okay.
And why?
Yeah, brands, you know, I'm going to start with the product, and then we'll
fine.
find the brand for the product.
Okay, yeah.
I'm in a desert, and I have a very dry skin, extremely, and I'm worried. So I'll take one. I'll take water.
Okay.
Desert,
Yeah.
yes. So find a brand for it. I don't know. I'll take shea butter.
Okay, good. Okay.
Yes, and find the brand for it. And what else will I take? What's the next product? I mean, water is just so, everybody would say I'll take water. And what the other product that I'll
I'm
take?
surprised there's no alcohol. Like, I'm not coming to this desert island without alcohol. I'm not coming. I'm sorry. What? Shea butter and water? No.
What am I gonna take? Oh my gosh. No.
I don't know. It's your desert island trip.
It's my desert island, and I've taken my water, and I've taken my shea butter, and I will take. Oh my God! I'll take my gin.
I'll take your gin. See, now I'm coming.
Yeah. I'll
See,
take
now
my
this gin. I'm like, okay, now I'm coming.
Yes.
Took us a minute. I wasn't coming for water. Just tonight.
I'll take my gin.
Awesome. Then I'm coming to your desert island. So this show is called Coming Full Circle.
Yes.
And I always ask every guest at the end, what does coming full circle mean for you? What does coming full circle mean for Makgati?
Coming full circle for me means being comfortable with what I would be happy or content with letting go.
Yeah.